From the mind-boggling number of costumes created to the unlikely props used during sex scenes, a lot goes into making this Netflix series. We're obsessed with the new love triangle between Anthony Bridgerton and the Sharma sisters, but we're also fascinated by the behind-the-scenes secrets of the show. We reveal the special signals Daphne and Simon used to communicate during filming, and more about the glamorous and not-so-glamorous aspects on set, like exploding toilets. Even before filming began, the cast and crew went to great lengths to transform themselves into convincing Regency-era identities. According to Cosmopolitan UK, the actors spent 6 weeks learning everything from the history of the era to horse riding, etiquette, piano, and more. The lessons? Well worth it. The characters move, speak, and live in a 19th century setting so naturally that they seem like friends and families who might actually live together in that society. The Bridgerton series brings to life the 1813 Regency era in a way that makes it feel like it was written for modern times. The show is filled with playful, stylized elements, brightly lit settings, and bold primary color palettes, not to mention the string quartet arrangements of chart-topping favorites by Ariana Grande or Shawn Mendes. Chris Van Dusen, creator and showrunner of the new drama, and his team made several creative decisions to translate the groundbreaking period of history for a 21st century audience. And it worked. Bridgerton is now the most watched original series on Netflix ever. The show broke a record previously held by The Witcher, which garnered 76 million views in its first 28 days. Besides having popularity in common, The Witcher also features actors from Bridgerton. Adjoa Andoh, who played Lady Danbury in Bridgerton, stars as Neneke, while Chris Futton, who appears as Sir Philip Crane in Bridgerton, plays Rience, a mage. Speaking of Lady Danbury, let's talk about the props, shall we? Lady Danbury's cane is an important part of her character. The production designer had several spares made to make sure she'd always have one just in case one went missing. She obviously kept it close by because they never had to use another. Watch until the end to see what prop they used to make the sex scenes in Series 2 more convincing. The set designer was most excited about the printing press, which printed the famous Lady Whistledown's newsletter, a major plot point in the show. It is the real thing from the period, and there are only a few left in the world. It weighs tons, literally, and we are lucky enough to have an expert that comes with it from Reading University to make sure we operate it properly. Julie Andrews lent her iconic voice to the role of the all-knowing gossip for 2 years and counting, and viewers simply wouldn't have it any other way. While she has a major role in the show, Andrews revealed that she has never met her co-stars in person. She does all of her recording alone and far away from them. Julie Andrews reportedly received £1.5 million or $2 million to lend her voice to Lady Whistledown. That's a nice salary for not even having to be there on set. Actors from popular shows and movies often tease the props they take home after filming wraps. This was not, however, the case with Bridgerton. According to Cosmopolitan, the costume department didn't allow actors to keep any mementos, but Jonathan Bailey, the actor who portrayed Anthony Bridgerton, did get to keep one prop, the dance belt, or thong that he wore below those white trousers. The costumes were so ornate that the crew constantly had to keep an eye out for sticky fingers. Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony Bridgerton, allegedly tried to walk off set with a ring his character wears, but was stopped before he even reached his car. Must have been an accident, right? According to The Sun, Bridgerton reportedly cost £5 million an episode to make, which equals nearly $7 million in US dollars. This includes the development of the costumes, the wallpaper, and rugs, everything. In the first series, there were more than a whopping 6,000 costumes made individually for the show. Daphne Bridgerton had 104 costumes in her repertoire. To accommodate all the outfits, the costume designer had to rent an industrial-size warehouse. To bring the Regency period to life, costume designer Ellen Mirojnick, who recently created the spectacular costumes for The Greatest Showman and Maleficent, Mistress of Evil, found a way to make it both accessible and fresh. To provide costumes for the variety of characters in the series, Mirojnick told Vogue that she needed to create a costume house with a team of 238 people. The actresses' costumes were so heavy with beads and layers that some of the crew members had to help them carry it. Nicola Coughlan, who plays Penelope Featherington, told HuffPost that she often has to have someone walk with her on set because her costumes are so weighty. They make it look effortless. Talking about something that looked like a piece of cake, let's address someone who looked the part but was really nervous about performing. It's hard to believe that Phoebe Dynevor was nervous about the dances. Did you notice? We couldn't either. She looked like she belonged there. But Phoebe said, "I've never been a particularly good dancer, and I was a little bit worried about that," adding, "But everyone was really supportive, and it ended up being a great bonding experience experience for all of us. When you sit down to watch your favorite ballroom scenes, you might be surprised to learn how much effort goes into them. According to Radio Times, it can take up to 5 days to shoot a single scene, and that's not including the time it takes for casting and choreography. While the show is not entirely historically accurate, it does employ a historian on set. The actors on set regularly exchange information with a historical advisor. According to actress Phoebe Dynevor, aka Daphne Bridgerton, the cast participated in a group chat where they all exchanged tidbits of information about the Regency era to inform their performances. Articles about etiquette, manners, and comportment were of particular import. Request to be added, please? In an interview with Town and Country, she said that the group chat helped her and her castmates find their bearings in a world so far removed from modern life where selecting a suitable match was the most important focus of their lives. Fans have compared the Featherington sisters to the Kardashians of their time. Penelope is an old-school Chloe. Remember how back in the day, Chloe used to say, "I'm the red-headed stepchild and I have to do everything for everyone." Well, that's Penelope. But then Chloe came back and is flying high. Will Penelope follow a similar path? For now, she's definitely the one who's left out amongst her sisters. Prudence and Philippa are terrible to her, and Lady Portia Featherington is a true Kris Jenner. She wants to push her girls into the spotlight. What about the tricky bits? Let's get to those intimate scenes in a moment, but first, the crew went through a lot of trouble to hire a tall minibus for one particular character. Can you guess who? Golda Rochevelle, who plays Queen Charlotte on the show, often sports some incredible and elaborate hair pieces. However, these hair pieces sometimes caused problems when trying to get to set. In an Instagram post, Golda revealed that she sometimes required alternative transportation for her when she would be wearing a particularly tall wig, showing her getting to set in a tall minibus. And on the topic of transport, we are finding it hard to believe that the horse and carriage scenes are mostly shot without any horses. The behind-the-scenes video, A Close Encounter with the Cast of Bridgerton, reveals that carriage scenes are often filmed in the studio, with crew members moving the carriages forward. And for one of the most famous scenes in Netflix history, the hot and heavy library scene between Daphne and Simon, which came later in the first series, was actually the first ones actors Phoebe Dynevor and regé-jean Page filmed together. That's a way to get over awkwardness early on. According to intimacy coordinator Lizzie Talbot, she developed a system of hand signals between her and the season 1 leads so they would be able to let her know how they were feeling during filming. We don't see any discomfort, so kudos to Lizzie. They changed their filming methods for series 2, using props to make the sex scenes more convincing. Jonathan Bailey, who plays Anthony Bridgerton in the series, said it was amazing to see how the whole intimacy coordination industry had just come on in a year since he shot season 1. He said, "There are new tricks to the trade, little cushions, and it's amazing what you can do with a half-inflated netball." The actor explained that the unusual item helps in those intimate moments because if two people are filming a sex scene, the rule is that they must have 3 barriers separating them. He continued, "Well, half-inflated netballs allow for movement without having to connect physically. Awkward moments and uncomfortable silences can be overcome with a sense of humor and maybe the drama of explosive toilets." Aside from the unusual tribulations of filming and thinking that the show might never get off the ground due to COVID, the Bridgerton crew had to deal with another problem. The toilet block exploded and covered the studio car park with, well, you know what. Bridgerton is all anyone's talking about, and for good reason. It's a fun, sexy series. If you haven't taken the Regency plunge yet, we hope the behind-the-scenes secrets have convinced you to watch. What behind-the-scenes surprises await us in Season 3? Thanks for watching and see you next time.